Welcome back to the latest episode of B6 and Beyond. You've got me and Cory tonight. We're here to talk transfers and what's going on at Aston Villa. Doesn't seem like a lot, but yeah, we're going to have a chat anyway and discuss what's going on. So first of all, Cory, how you doing, mate? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, Ben. How about yourself?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good, apart from this stressful transfer window that we're currently going through at the moment.
Yeah, that's the end of the
Right,
video,
where do we
guys.
start?
Thanks for watching.
Yeah. Right. So before we do get into it, if you're not already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We are doing an ongoing giveaway. Every 500 followers, we will be doing a giveaway. When we hit 1,000, the next one will be either a shirt or we will be giving away match tickets. We're undecided. Actually, you know what? Let us know in the comment section which you would prefer. We would like to hear from you. So, right, I think it's a good one to start on the Mikatatse rumours from earlier on. Obviously, me and you had some conversations over WhatsApp about it, and we were quite excited about the potential of him signing. And it looks like that the journalist who broke the news got the wrong Villa because he's actually gone to join Villarreal.
Yeah. Obviously,
you can't write it, can you?
Well, you can't. As soon as it came out, I jumped straight onto TikTok, made a video about it. I was buzzing, by the way, about this. I was like, I've seen him a few times for Lyon last season, obviously for Georgia. Him and sort of Kvaratskhelia have been like the big names coming out of Georgia. And it looked like a proper signing, exactly what we needed. Almost too good to be true, and it was. Yeah, ultimately, obviously Jacob Tanswell squashed that fairly quickly.
It just summarises our window in a nutshell, doesn't it, so far?
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, let's go on to something a bit more positive, because I think if we keep going, if we talk about this one too long, I think me and you will probably, we won't be here much longer, put it that way. Marco Asensio, that one looks like that is potentially going to happen. I don't think it's as far along as some of the Villa in the nose are saying, but if you know, you know. But it looks like that one potentially could happen. It looks like from what we're reading online today that the clubs aren't far between the evaluations. Villa see around the €15 million mark, whereas PSG are saying around 20. I would like to think Villa do get that one over the line. Unai Emery wants bodies. What's your assessment on it?
Yeah, do you know, I think it's a smart signing. I think, obviously, at the start of the window, we did a podcast, and I sort of was against the idea of getting Asensio back purely because I didn't realise what was to come with this window. Now, with the position we're in, I think it's a smart sign. I've seen a lot of people on X or Twitter really putting it down, saying how it's a poor signing, saying, we should have just got a loan, that sort of thing. I don't think people understand. You get him on loan, you pay a portion of 240,000 grand a week wages. You sign him permanently, you're paying him the wages that you decide as a club with him, which is not going to be 240 grand. And do you know what? 15 million euros this is as well if we do get it done. I think personally it'll probably end up being about 17.5. I think we'll meet in the middle come the end of the window. So again, it works out about 13, 14 million pounds. It's smart, but you're not going to get many players with his CV for that sort of money.
It's got pedigree. I'm absolutely baffled at the amount of Villa fans that are generally turning the nose up at him. I appreciate there's the Coutinho fear that he could be another Coutinho, but this is Unai Emery now, and Asensio clearly has got the game. At times I see, and I'll put my hands up, and I'm going to say this with my chest. During that period where he was electric for Villa in scoring the goals he did, I genuinely think he was one of the best players that I've ever seen play for Aston Villa Football Club. He was incredible. So if he's clearly got that level of ability, he might have just had a dip in form towards the end of the season. For 15 million euros, it's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. It's a no-brainer to get it over the line. Especially look at us in the last couple of games. We've lacked creativity massively, and him going into that centre attacking midfield role, Rodgers off the left. Hopefully, we might actually see a Marlon or a Gesson on the right, because if we don't see a bit of pace in the side soon, I'm probably going to hit my head off a brick wall. But yeah, for me, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I think as well you've touched on it there. The pace side of things with Gesson and Marlon. You need someone who's going to be able to pick them out. The Newcastle game we were at, we spoke about it. I think it might have been on a TikTok live. We spoke about it. We went to that game and all the balls to Ollie Watkins were either under hit or over hit. You've got someone like Asensio who's got a beautiful pass on him. He knows the way to pass. Tielemans, when he's playing a bit deeper back in a deeper role, which he will do against Palace, you'd have thought, he's got that in him as well. And I think, like I say, it's smart business. You can go into it with this fear of, it could be another Coutinho. Anybody could be another Coutinho. Everyone wanted Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish could have come back and been the Man City Jack Grealish. Fair play at Everton, he's doing the business, but they're also paying 260 grand a week for him. So for that sort of money, he needs to be doing the business. We can't afford that ultimately. And like I say, I think it's a clever deal, and I think it's a deal where both Emery wants him, Asensio's wanted Villa the whole time. If he wants to be here and Emery wants him here, go for it.
I think the sad thing is none of us really know what our financial situation actually is, and we don't know how many players we can sign. Really, I got to just spitballing, and this is I don't know because I'm not an in the know, and I'm not like some Villa fans that pretend to be an in the know. I generally would be very surprised if we don't go into the window for more than Asensio. I would be very surprised if we don't sign 3 players, 2 at the bare minimum. I would say closer to 3. And we've gone over it a couple of times, but I don't know if we will sign a centre back. Obviously, there was links JD Canvo. He now looks like he's going to Crystal Palace. They have the money to be able to spend. I wouldn't be surprised if the club are happy to go into the season with Ezri Konsa and Lamar Bogard to cover that role. I think we need attacking reinforcement just because of the amount of players that we have lost in that area. We are really light. I think we need another winger. I'm pretty convinced we need another winger. A winger, a 10. Ideal world, a right-sided centre-back, but if not, then that can't happen. I would be more open for potentially another forward, or even if we could look at a right-back, depending on what happens with Garcia or Cash. I would imagine that probably doesn't happen either, but definitely, bare minimum, a centre attacking midfielder, Asensio, and a right winger. Or left winger, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well, like obviously Emery's came out today in his press and said, we are going to be busy in the last few days. What that means, we don't know. You can be busy and not sign anyone, we know this, but ultimately the way I look at that is we know we need players, so we're definitely going to be looking at trying to find solutions, but ultimately, as you said, no one except the club knows what's going on financially. We don't know if we're able to go and get a winger for 25 million on decent wages and loan someone at centre-back for decent wages. We don't know that, and it is frustrating not knowing. It's frustrating that sort of the club haven't come out and said anything. I think there's been a few things this sort of summer where I wish people would have come out and said stuff, and then there's been times where they haven't. It's probably not the right time. You look at the Jacob Ramsey transfer, the players were very quick to jump out and call that out, but then also you look at, again, listen, I'm not saying anything from it, but like you look at Emi Martinez, the whole window's been linked away. There's rumours every time saying he's wanted to leave the whole time. He's not come out and said anything. He's rarely really talked about Villa since we've come back into the Premier League season. He's not really done many posts, which he's always one of the first to post. There is something weird going on at Villa, but we don't know what that is, and I think that's the ultimate vibe. And I think not knowing is the scary part. All it takes is for someone to come out and say, yeah, we're fine, we're just taking our time, and people are like, okay, fair enough.
I think the next 3 days, I don't want to say it, but I think there could be a roller coaster. I really wouldn't even be surprised if there's other players potentially go. Could be completely wrong. That's just how I feel at the moment. I think if someone come in with decent money for one of our big players, would the club entertain it if they could get someone in to replace them? Who knows? The one that I spitballed the other day was this Kobe Minu situation. I'd have loved the club to look at potentially an Onana and Minu swap deal myself, but doesn't look like that will happen, especially with Onana's injury now. He seems to be injured every other week, unfortunately. And Boubacar Kamara's injury record isn't much better, to be honest with you, which is really concerning.
It is, and it is frustrating. I think, as you say, it seems to be. Listen, we don't want to go over the top, but these next 3 days, they are season defining.
They are.
That's not over the top either. It is a case of if we bring no one in, we've seen how we've started the window. And as players slowly get... I mean, you look at Watkins, for example. If Watkins gets injured, Marlon goes up top. Marlon's not a bad replacement, but is he a striker? We don't know. Gesson could go up top, okay. Again, he's not a bad replacement, but he's not played in the Premier League before. Then if one of them goes up top, it means you lose out on a winger, for example. If one of the
you're looking at John McGinn at right wing.
Yeah, exactly. If one of the wingers gets injured, if Onana gets... Well, if Tielemans gets injured, you've then lost 3 midfielders, and all of a sudden, you're slowly eating into that. I mean, Emery said he's going to trust the youth players this year, and I'm glad to see that. We spoke after sort of pre-season, and players like George Hemmings, who really stepped up in pre-season. It'd be nice to see him getting some minutes in the Premier League, potentially. Lamar Bogart's another one who I think we need to be seeing more of. I think he signed a contract for a reason. He must know that he's probably going to play a bit more this season. The likes of Tristan Rowe, I don't expect to see much of him, but again, he's been name-dropped by Emery as someone who he expects to get minutes. And then Jimo Aloba, I think he has to be getting minutes as well. He's a really top talent. But again, ultimately, to go back to that famous saying, you can't win stuff with kids. And that's the truth nowadays. It's not like back then where it's a bit of a sprite. If we have a team full of 18-year-olds, it's not going to get us anywhere. And that is the worry.
I'll say we're not going to stay on this episode for too long because there isn't a fat lot to talk about. Just thought we'd really jump on to talk about mainly the Asensio topic, which all Villa fans are, split, I would say. Corey, is there any other bits that you want to touch on? Because for me, I think we've pretty much covered. Oh, I'd like to ask you actually, what do you expect for the next few days?
I'm expecting signings, and I know that sounds very sceptical considering what's going on, but I do expect, as you say, at least 2 more after Asensio. I think Asensio will be one that potentially might not be done till deadline day. I think, depending on the Palace result as well, could potentially see even more signings come in, because that's going to be a huge factor. If we lose there, obviously we've lost our streak for starters, but obviously if we lose there as well, 0 wins in 3 games, we're going to have to dig deep into the market. And if that means potentially getting fines or points deductions, we might just have to firm that and say it's worth doing. I know a lot of Villa fans maybe don't agree with that, but
it's the ban from Europe, isn't it? That's the concern.
Of course it is, yeah. That's obviously a kicker, but I expect at least 3 signings, and I know that's optimistic, but I
don't think it is.
2 permanent signings in Asensio and potentially a winger or a centre-back, and then the loan is obviously the winger or the centre-back. That would be my personal opinion. Potentially 4 as someone to get back up in as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty much echoing your thoughts. Right, let's wrap that up because, like I said, there's not a lot to talk about. Villa fans, thank you for watching as always. Make sure to drop a subscribe. Comment. Let us know in the comment section, who do you think that we should sign over the next few days? What do you expect from the rest of the window? And we'll see you at Crystal Palace. Well, I will, so I'll be there. Corey will be there in spirit. He's not dead, but he will be there with me. Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.